Before the gleam of minted silver ever caught a merchant's eye, trade in the lands that would become Morocco was a complex dance of exchange. Communities thrived through barter. They swapped essential goods based on need and perceived value. A farmer with a surplus of grain might trade his harvest for pottery crafted by a skilled artisan from a neighboring village. Coastal settlements offered dried fish and precious salt, painstakingly harvested from the sea, in exchange for dates, leather, and wool from the nomadic peoples of the interior. This system was direct and personal. It relied heavily on established relationships, trust, and a shared understanding of worth, creating intricate social and economic networks that crisscrossed the vast landscapes. The items used in these exchanges were not limited to simple commodities. Certain objects gained a status beyond their immediate utility, acting as proto-currencies. Salt bars, cut into standardized sizes, were highly prized, especially in the trans-Saharan trade routes where they were worth their weight in gold. Other valuable items included blocks of raw copper, ostrich feathers, prized for their beauty, and ivory, sourced from the elephants that roamed the southern regions. These goods were durable, portable, and widely desired, fulfilling some of the basic functions of money. They facilitated trade over longer distances and allowed for the accumulation of wealth in a tangible form, laying the very groundwork for a more formalized monetary system. This ancient economic landscape was shaped by geography. The Atlas Mountains stood as a formidable barrier, yet also a source of minerals. The long Atlantic and Mediterranean coastlines invited maritime trade. The vast Sahara Desert to the south was a challenging but ultimately profitable corridor for commerce with sub-Saharan Africa. The indigenous Berber tribes, with their deep knowledge of the terrain, became masters of these trade routes. They established fortified trading posts, known as ksur, which served as vital hubs where goods from different regions could be securely stored, exchanged, and redistributed, connecting North Africa to a wider world of commerce. The limitations of this barter system, however, became more apparent as trade networks expanded. Calculating the relative value of different goods was often cumbersome. A merchant might have to engage in multiple trades to acquire the specific item they desired. The need for a more efficient, standardized medium of exchange grew with every caravan that crossed the desert and every ship that docked in a coastal port. The stage was slowly being set for a revolutionary innovation. The societies of ancient Morocco were ready for the introduction of something more abstract and universally accepted: the coin. The concept of money was not yet present, but the economic activities of the era were building the foundations upon which it would eventually be built. The initial introduction of coinage into the region of modern-day Morocco was not a local innovation, but an import from powerful, neighboring civilizations. Long before the rise of Islam, the powerful city-state of Carthage, located in present-day Tunisia, extended its commercial influence along the North African coast. Carthaginian merchants established trading posts and brought with them their own currency. These early coins, struck from bronze, silver, and a naturally occurring gold-silver alloy called electrum, began to circulate among the coastal Berber tribes. They offered a new and more convenient way to conduct transactions, gradually replacing the cumbersome barter of goods for certain types of trade. Following the Punic Wars and the subsequent fall of Carthage, the Roman Empire asserted its dominance over North Africa. The region, which the Romans named Mauritania Tingitana, became an important province, valued for its grain, olive oil, and wild animals for the gladiatorial games. With Roman administration came the Roman monetary system. Coins like the silver denarius and the gold aureus became common currency in the bustling Roman cities of Volubilis and Lixus. These coins were more than just tools for commerce. They were symbols of imperial power, bearing the portraits of emperors and conveying messages of Roman authority and stability across the vast empire. The circulation of Roman coins had a profound effect on the local economy and social structure. For the first time, a standardized and widely accepted form of money was available, simplifying trade and allowing for the systematic collection of taxes. Local Berber leaders and merchants who interacted with the Roman administration quickly adopted the use of coinage. This integration into the Roman economic sphere brought new levels of prosperity to certain sectors of society. It also exposed the local population to the concepts of fixed value, state-controlled minting, and the use of precious metals as a reliable store of wealth. ideas that would endure long after the Roman legions departed. However, the influence of these foreign coins was not uniform across the land. Their use was concentrated in the Roman-controlled cities and coastal areas where trade was most active. In the more remote mountainous regions and the desert interior, traditional barter systems and the use of commodity money, like salt bars, continued to dominate daily economic life. The Roman presence created a dual economy, one based on coinage in the urban centers and another based on barter in the rural hinterlands. This created a fascinating mixture of economic practices where ancient traditions coexisted with the new monetary systems brought by powerful empires from across the sea. The 7th and 8th centuries marked a pivotal turning point in North African history with the arrival of Arab armies, bringing with them the religion of Islam. This expansion was not merely a military conquest, but also a profound cultural and economic transformation. As the Islamic Caliphate extended its reach across the region, it introduced its own administrative and monetary systems, which were designed to unify the vast and diverse territories under its control. One of the most significant introductions was the standardized Islamic currency system, consisting of the gold dinar and, crucially for our story, the silver dirham. These coins were destined to replace the Byzantine and Sasanian currencies that had been circulating previously. The silver dirham was modeled on the Sasanian drachm, but was fundamentally reimagined to conform to Islamic principles. In a stark departure from the Roman and Byzantine tradition of featuring the ruler's portrait, Islamic coins were purely epigraphic. They were devoid of any pictorial representations, which was in keeping with aniconic traditions within Islam. Instead, the coin's surfaces were beautifully inscribed with verses from the Quran, typically the Shahada, or the Declaration of Faith, along with the name of the ruling caliph, the mint location, and the year of issue according to the Islamic Hijri calendar. This made each coin a declaration of faith and a proclamation of political sovereignty. The introduction of the dirham had an immediate and powerful impact on the economy of the Maghreb. It provided a stable and reputable currency that was accepted from the Iberian Peninsula to the borders of China, facilitating long-distance trade on an unprecedented scale. For Moroccan merchants, this meant they could trade with far-flung partners using a single, trusted medium of exchange. The dirham's high silver content and standardized weight gave it an intrinsic value that was recognized everywhere, overcoming the complexities and uncertainties of local barter systems and the circulation of various foreign coins of differing weights and purities. The minting of these coins was a carefully controlled state enterprise. Mints were established in major administrative centers across the Islamic world, and the production of currency was a clear signal of a ruler's authority. The inscriptions on the coins served as a powerful tool of propaganda, reinforcing the religious and political legitimacy of the caliph. For the people of Morocco, the sight of these new silver coins, with their elegant Arabic script, was a constant reminder of their integration into the wider Islamic civilization, or Dar al-Islam. The dirham was more than money. It was a symbol of a new cultural and religious identity that was reshaping the region. Under the Umayyad Caliphate, which ruled from Damascus and later Cordoba, the production and circulation of the silver dirham became highly organized and widespread. The Umayyads were masters of administration, and they understood the critical importance of a unified currency for governing their immense empire. They established a network of mints, including several in North Africa and Al-Andalus, which produced vast quantities of high-quality silver dirhams. These coins were remarkably uniform in their weight, purity, and design, adhering to the standards set by Caliph Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan in the late 7th century, who is credited with the comprehensive reform of Islamic coinage. The Umayyad dirhams that reached Morocco were of a consistently high fineness, typically containing over 95% pure silver. This reliability made them highly sought after and trusted in all forms of commerce. They became the backbone of the trans-Saharan trade, financing the great caravans that transported gold, salt, ivory, and enslaved people across the vast desert. The wealth generated by this trade flowed back into the cities of the Maghreb, stimulating local economies and funding the construction of mosques, markets, and madrasas. The dirham was the engine of this economic boom, a liquid asset that could be easily transported, exchanged, and stored. The design of the Umayyad dirham was a masterpiece of calligraphic art and minimalist messaging. The coins featured crisp Kufic script, the earliest formal script of the Arabic language. The central field on the obverse typically contained the kalima, "There is no God but God, he has no associate," while the margin carried the mint and date formula. The reverse featured another Quranic quotation, often Surah 112, Al-Ikhlas, proclaiming the oneness of God. This consistent, text-based design reinforced a unified Islamic identity and distinguished the coins from the pictorial currencies of the Christian Byzantine Empire, their main geopolitical rival. Even as the central authority of the Umayyad Caliphate in Damascus waned and was replaced by the Abbasids, the Umayyad legacy in the West endured. A surviving Umayyad prince, Abd al-Rahman I, fled to the Iberian Peninsula and established an independent emirate of Cordoba. This state continued to mint coins in the Umayyad style, and its influence extended across the Strait of Gibraltar into northern Morocco. The Umayyad dirham and the economic principles it represented had laid a deep and lasting foundation. It established silver coinage as the primary medium of exchange and set a high standard for numismatic production that would be emulated and adapted by the Moroccan dynasties to come. In the middle of the 11th century, a new power emerged from the Sahara, destined to forge an empire and create one of the world's most iconic cities. The Almoravids, a puritanical movement of Sanhaja Berber tribes, swept northwards, driven by religious zeal and military prowess. Their leader, Abu Bakr ibn Umar, recognized the strategic importance of a central location to control the fertile plains of Haouz and the vital trans-Saharan trade routes. In 1070, he established a camp in a largely uninhabited, sun-drenched plain at the foot of the high Atlas Mountains. This humble encampment was the genesis of Marrakesh, the land of God. Under Abu Bakr's successor, the formidable Yusuf ibn Tashfin, the camp evolved into a bustling capital city. He is widely considered the true founder of Marrakesh. He oversaw the construction of the city's first defining features, a mosque, a palace known as the Qasr el-Hajjar, or Stone Fortress, and critically, the extensive network of underground irrigation channels called Katara. These channels, tapping into the water table from the nearby mountains, were really the city's lifeblood. They enabled the creation of lush gardens and provided water for a growing population, transforming a dry plain into a viable urban center. Marrakesh was born from a combination of strategic vision and brilliant engineering. The city's location was no accident. It was perfectly positioned to command the crossroads of North Africa. To the north lay the agricultural heartlands of Morocco and the routes to Al-Andalus in Spain. To the south, the passes of the Atlas Mountains opened directly onto the great desert highways, leading to the gold-rich empires of West Africa, such as Ghana. Marrakesh quickly became the premier trading hub, a nexus where salt from the Sahara was exchanged for gold from the south, and Andalusian crafts were traded for Moroccan leather and grain. The city's souks, or markets, swelled with merchants, artisans, and travelers from across the known world. With its establishment as a political and commercial capital, the need for a local, state-controlled currency became paramount. While dirhams from other Islamic mints were in circulation, a new dynasty needed its own coinage to assert its sovereignty and manage its burgeoning economy. The Almoravid rulers understood that minting coins was a fundamental prerogative of power. It would not be long before the sounds of hammers striking silver dies would be heard in Marrakesh. The city was not just a new administrative center, it was poised to become a major center of numismatic production, issuing coins that would carry its name and its ruler's authority far and wide. With Marrakesh firmly established as the capital of their expanding empire, the Almoravids, under Yusuf ibn Tashfin and his successor, Ali ibn Yusuf, began to mint their own distinctive coins. This marked a crucial moment in Moroccan history, the creation of a currency minted locally in their new capital. While the Almoravids also minted a famous gold dinar, known for its purity and sought after across Europe, it was the silver dirham that formed the backbone of everyday commerce. Around the year 1093, the first silver dirhams bearing the mint name Marrakesh were struck, announcing the city's new status to the world. The design of the Almoravid dirham was a continuation of the classic Islamic epigraphic style, yet it had its own unique characteristics. The coins were typically square-shaped, known as a kirati, which was a departure from the round coins of a dirham. The calligraphy was a clear and elegant form of Kufic script. On the obverse, the central inscription declared the Islamic faith, "There is no God but God. Muhammad is the messenger of God," and often included the name of the ruler, such as Amir al-Muslimin Ali ibn Yusuf. The margin would contain the mint name Marrakush and the date of minting, providing invaluable information for historians and numismatists today. The reverse of the coin carried a specific religious and political message that defined the Almoravid identity. It often featured the name of the Abbasid Caliph in Baghdad. By including the Caliph's name, the Almoravids, despite being independent and powerful rulers in their own right, were publicly acknowledging the spiritual authority of the central caliphate. This was a shrewd political move, lending them religious legitimacy in the eyes of the wider Islamic world. The combination of their own leader's name on the obverse and the caliph's name on the reverse perfectly encapsulated their status as powerful, yet orthodox, Sunni Muslim rulers. The production of these silver dirhams in Marrakesh was a sign of the city's economic maturity and the Almoravid state's administrative sophistication. The mint, or Dar al-Sika, was a vital state institution, closely supervised to ensure the coin's weight and silver purity remained consistent. These coins circulated widely, not just within Morocco, but along the trade routes into Al-Andalus and deep into sub-Saharan Africa. The Marrakesh dirham became a trusted and recognizable currency, a metallic ambassador for the Almoravid Empire and its magnificent capital. It was tangible proof of the city's journey from a desert encampment to the heart of an imperial power. The Almoravid dynasty's rule eventually gave way to a new, rival Berber movement, the Almohads. Ascending to power in the mid-12th century, the Almohads captured Marrakesh in 1147 and made it their own capital, embarking on a massive building program that included the famous Kutubiyya Mosque. They also reformed the currency. The Almohads introduced a new and distinctive coin, the square silver dirham. This shape was highly unusual for the period and became a numismatic signature of their reign. The Almohad dirham was of high-quality silver and was minted in vast quantities, not just in Marrakesh, but in other major cities of their empire, which stretched from Spain to Libya. The design of the Almohad dirham was also innovative. While still epigraphic, it broke with the tradition of naming the Abbasid Caliph. The Almohads, who followed a different theological doctrine, saw themselves as the true leaders of the Muslim community and did not recognize the Abbasids' authority. Their coins reflected this independence. The inscriptions were simple and bold, often enclosed within the square frame. A typical Almohad dirham would proclaim the basic tenets of their faith. There is no God but God. Muhammad is the messenger of God. The Mahdi is the Imam of the community, referencing their founder, Ibn Tumart, as the Mahdi, or Guided One. Following the decline of the Almohads, the Marinid dynasty rose to prominence in the 13th century. While they moved the political capital to Fez, Marrakesh remained a vital southern hub and continued to operate a mint. The Marinids initially continued the Almohad tradition of minting square silver dirhams, a testament to the success and recognizability of that design. However, over time, they gradually reintroduced round coins. Marinid coinage is notable for its beautiful and often more elaborate calligraphy, sometimes featuring a more decorative cursive script. Their coins continued to be a crucial part of the Moroccan economy, though the empire's focus had shifted northward. Throughout these successive dynastic changes, Marrakesh's mint played a continuous, albeit sometimes secondary role. The coins produced there chart the course of Moroccan history. The shift from Almoravid to Almohad coinage reflects a profound religious and political revolution. The transition from square Almohad coins to round Marinid coins signals another change in power and aesthetic preference. Each silver dirham minted in the city is a small historical document. It tells a story of a particular ruler, a specific theological belief, and the prevailing artistic style of its time, providing a tangible link to the complex and shifting political landscape of medieval Morocco. The golden age of the Moroccan silver dirham, which had lasted for centuries, began to wane in the early modern period. Several factors contributed to this decline. The discovery of vast quantities of silver in the Americas by the Spanish and Portuguese led to a massive influx of New World silver into the global economy. This influx destabilized the value of existing silver currencies and disrupted traditional trade patterns. Spanish silver coins, particularly the piece of 8, became a dominant international currency, circulating widely in North Africa and often preferred in large-scale transactions over locally minted coins, diminishing the role of the Moroccan mints. Internal political instability and the fragmentation of power also played a significant role. The Saadi dynasty, who rose to power in the 16th century and famously repelled an Ottoman invasion, did revive Marrakesh as a capital and minted their own currency. However, their reign and that of the subsequent Alawite dynasty were marked by periods of internal conflict and challenges from European powers. Maintaining a consistent and high-quality national coinage became increasingly difficult. The purity of the silver dirham was sometimes debased during times of economic hardship, which eroded public trust in the currency and encouraged the hoarding of older, purer coins. As European economic and colonial influence grew in the 18th and 19th centuries, the Moroccan monetary system underwent further changes. European currencies circulated alongside local ones, creating a complex and often confusing monetary environment. The Alawite sultans made efforts to modernize their coinage, introducing new designs and denominations. However, the traditional silver dirham, as it had been known for centuries, was gradually phased out. It was replaced by a more modern system of coins, including some still struck in silver, but of different weights and values, and eventually, coins made from less precious metals like bronze and copper for everyday transactions. The establishment of the French and Spanish protectorates in 1912 marked the definitive end of Morocco's independent coinage. The monetary system was integrated with that of France, and the Moroccan franc was introduced, pegged to the French franc. The production of traditional Islamic-style silver coins for general circulation ceased entirely. The Dar al-Sika in Marrakesh, which had once produced coins that were a symbol of imperial power and recognized across continents, fell silent. The era of the silver dirham as a living, breathing part of the Moroccan economy had come to a close, passing from the marketplace into the realm of history. Today, the official currency of the Kingdom of Morocco is the Moroccan dirham, but it is a modern fiat currency, with coins made of base metal alloys and banknotes made of paper and polymer. The direct lineage with the ancient silver dirham exists in name only. The production of silver coins for general circulation has long been a thing of the past, rendered obsolete by modern economic systems and the changing value of precious metals. The clinking of silver in the souks of Marrakesh has been replaced by the rustle of banknotes and the tapping of credit card terminals, reflecting the global shift in how we perceive and use money. However, the legacy of the silver coin has not been entirely forgotten. It has found a new life in the world of numismatics and commemorative issues. The Moroccan State Mint, Bank al-Maghrib, occasionally issues special edition coins struck in precious metals, including silver, to celebrate significant national events, royal anniversaries, or cultural milestones. These modern commemorative coins are not intended for everyday transactions. They are works of art and collector's items designed to honor the nation's rich history. Their designs often incorporate traditional motifs, calligraphy, and symbols that pay homage to the great dynasties of the past. For collectors and historians, the silver dirhams of Marrakesh, from the Almoravid to the Marinid periods, are treasured artifacts. Each coin is a window into the past, offering insights into the political, religious, and economic life of its time. Numismatists study the subtle variations in their inscriptions, weights, and designs to piece together a more detailed picture of Moroccan history. These small discs of silver, once instruments of commerce, are now primary source documents, preserved in museums and private collections around the world, safeguarding the memory of the empires that created them and the great city from which they came. The journey of Marrakesh's silver coin, from a tool of trade to a historical artifact, mirrors the city's own evolution. The coin's story is one of power, faith, artistry, and economic change. While no longer used to buy goods in the Jimma el-Fna, the spirit of the silver dirham endures. It is present in the name of the modern currency, in the intricate designs of the nation's commemorative issues, and in the deep cultural heritage that continues to make Marrakesh a crossroads of history. The silver coin's long journey has ended, but its story remains a permanent and precious part of Morocco's national